right, let's dive into a term that you hear thrown around all the time, but what does it really mean? I'm talking about software as a service, or SaaS. It's basically the engine that powers almost everything we do in our digital lives, for work, for staying connected, the whole shebang. So let's break it down. Just take a second and think about your day so far. I mean, really think. How many different apps have you already opened? One for your email, probably another for your team chat, maybe you jumped on a video call, and another one to access your files in the cloud. If any of these look familiar, well, congratulations, you've been using software as a service. These tools are so woven into the fabric of our daily routines that we don't even think about the model behind them. And that's exactly what we're going to unpack today. Here's the game plan. First, we'll nail down what SaaS actually is. Then, we'll get into the provider's side of the bargain, what makes it so compelling. After that, and this is important, we'll talk about your part of the deal and the risks, and we'll wrap up by looking at how to choose wisely and what's coming next for SaaS. Okay, first up, let's get right to the heart of it. What in the world is software as a service? So, let's start with the official, kind of nerdy definition from NIST, the National Institute of Standards and Technology. The key phrases here are over the internet and managed entirely by the provider. What does that really mean? It means you don't have to worry about a single server, cable, or piece of hardware. It's all handled for you. You just log in and use it. Simple as that. And this slide, this really shows you what a massive shift this was. Remember the old days? You bought software in a box. It was this huge one-time purchase, a big capital expense, or CapEx. You owned it, sure, but you were on the hook for everything. Every single update, all the maintenance, it was a pain. SaaS just flips that script completely. Now, it's like your Netflix subscription, a predictable monthly fee, an operational expense, or OpEx. Updates just happen magically in the background. You can access it from anywhere. And maintenance, that's their problem, not yours. It's a completely different way to think about software. So that fundamental change brings us right to our second section, the provider's promise. Let's dig into why this model became so popular. I love this quote because it just hits the nail on the head. You're not buying a clunky piece of code anymore. You're subscribing to an ability. The ability to manage your sales pipeline, the ability to chat with your team, the ability to host a meeting with someone across the globe. The focus isn't on the tool, it's on what you can do with it. So how do they make all that magic happen? Well, behind the curtain, the provider is doing all the heavy lifting. They're managing a sea of servers, storage, and networks. They're constantly pushing out security patches and cool new features automatically. And this is a big one, they've built the system to scale. So whether you're a team of 10 or 10,000, the service just works. So what's the bottom line for you, the user? Well, the speed is just insane. You can be up and running in minutes, not waiting months for an IT project. The cost is predictable, not some giant, scary check you have to write up front. The service grows right alongside your business, and your team can literally work from anywhere. It's this incredible blend of power and simplicity. Okay, but all this convenience, it has to come with some trade-offs, right? Absolutely. And for our third section, we've got to talk about what's still your job. This is the part that trips up a lot of people. This is the question you have to ask yourself. You've basically handed over the keys to the car, but you're still the one driving it. So what parts of that journey are still 100% under your control, and therefore your responsibility? This chart here, the shared responsibility model, breaks it down perfectly. Think of it like this. The provider secures the apartment building, but you are still responsible for locking your own apartment door. They take care of their cloud infrastructure, but you are always responsible for your data, for who can see it and for what they can do with it. If you accidentally give an intern admin rights to everything, yeah, that's a you problem, not a provider problem. And then there's the big one, downtime. You are completely at the mercy of the provider's uptime. And as this timeline clearly shows, even the biggest names in the game are not invincible. A single botched update from a company like CrowdStrike in July 2024 caused a massive global meltdown. And platforms like Microsoft 365 have had some pretty major hiccups. When they go down, you go down with them. Period. So because signing up is so easy, we've seen this wild explosion of tools. Now brace yourself for this number. According to industry research, the average organization is now using 275 different SaaS applications. That is not a typo. 275. Each one with its own price tag, its own login, and its own potential security hole. And this leads to a problem that has a name: SaaS sprawl. It's this messy, out of control, often totally invisible collection of apps. You end up with 5 different tools that do the same thing, you're wasting a ton of money on licenses nobody's using, and you've created huge security gaps you don't even know about. Just because it's easy to swipe a credit card doesn't mean it's a good idea. Which brings us right to our final section. Okay, we know the good. We know the bad. So how do we make smart choices in this crazy landscape? And where is all of this headed? Look, making a smart SaaS decision is about way more than just cool features. It has to start with a real business goal. You've got to test it to make sure it plays nice with the tools you already have. And this is non-negotiable. You need a plan for managing the cost and security from day one. And maybe the most overlooked piece of advice, always have a plan for how you'd get your data out if you ever decide to leave. You need an exit strategy. This little chart just sums it all up, doesn't it? When you choose SaaS, you're getting incredibly low upfront costs and lightning-fast deployment. That's the win. The trade-off? You're giving up deep, granular control and the ability to customize it to death. If you can understand and accept that trade-off, you're going to be in great shape. And as we look to the future, well, the future is already here. The next giant wave is artificial intelligence. We're not talking about separate AI tools anymore. We're talking about generative AI assistants being baked right into the SaaS apps you use every single day, from your spreadsheet to your security software, and it's changing everything. So I'll leave you with this thought. For decades, software has just been a service that did what we told it to do. It executed commands. But now it's becoming a service that can understand context, that can summarize complex information, that can generate brand new ideas. Your software can actually think. So the real question is, what does that unlock for us? And what new responsibilities does that create? That's what we're all about to find out.